the preference point system was probably created sometime around there, right? Like in the early
It
90s.
it was the first state that did it was Colorado in 1988. And
98?
then, yep,
Okay.
88,
Oh, 88.
1988.
Okay.
So
Yep.
then some other states started jumping in right about that time. The early 90s, all these states started these point systems, Ponzi schemes. And there's no doubt if you were in on the ground floor, you you were way better off than those who jumped in later.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
basically, the way it works for those that don't know is if I put in for X state and
Hmm.
I don't draw, I get a point. Or some states allow you to buy a point instead
Hmm.
of putting in for a tag, and then you get a point.
Yeah.
And what's
Which,
happened over the course of a lot of years is what they call point creep, which
yep.
is if I didn't get in at the beginning, I'm perpetually behind and there's no way to catch up.
Yep.
So like for example, in Oregon, there was a couple years I don't know what the hell I was doing. I must have been drunk or something. But I'm like, I think I have 17 elk points in Oregon. I think max now, I don't remember. What is it, 24, 22? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Regardless, 17. So the tag that I want at 17 points, I have a 0.001% chance of drawing the tag. At 18 if I had 18 points, I'd have a 60% chance of drawing the tag.
Yeah.
But next year, when I have 18, I'll still have a 0.01% chance of drawing the tag, and
Yeah.
19 will have a 60% chance. So basically, it's a very tough system unless you have max points.
Yeah.
unless
And
it's different states, which maybe you can explain how like Nevada works.
yeah, and so I tell people it's kind of like the line at the theater. Okay. The first person in line, they say, okay, we only are taking 5 people today or for tonight's show. Now, the rest of you, if you want to keep your place in line, you send us $100 to we say buy a point. That allows you to not get other people coming and cut in front of you. You kind of get to keep your place where you're at in the line. Well, if you're number 100 in the line and they only take 5 people, and then the next year they take 5, and the next year they take 5. It's going to take you a long time before you get to the front of the line. That's how a preference point system works. Nevada has what's called a bonus point system. It's like a raffle. So every year you get an extra raffle ticket. And then along the way, they came up with this concocted idea that we'll square. So not only are you going to get an extra point this year that represents a raffle ticket, we'll square them. So if you got 10, David, you get to square that. That's 100. I only have 2. Well, that 2 times 2 is 4. And then you get a raffle ticket for this year. So I got 5, you got 101. Who do you think's going to win the raffle? Probably you. So one is more like a raffle, and the other is pretty much like being in line, and you just wait till enough people, at the restaurant, table of 4, and you're like, oh man, I'm going to be here till they close tonight. So,
I might
well,
be waiting for my elk tag until my life closes.
yeah, you might be.
Yeah.
I fully intend that in Montana I have the maximum. I got in on the ground floor for bighorn sheep. So did 10,000 other people. So we only give away about 80 tags a year. So what do you suppose the odds are that I'm going to my grave with those sheep points that I've been paying for and building up? Way better than the odds that I'll ever get a sheep tag. But you know what? And these are big
So
money makers for the state. So that's why they're not going away. So
yeah, I
anyone
was
who
going to
come,
ask you. You're a math guy. You're
yeah.
smart. What is the
Hmm?
right solution? Let's just say the states had the balls to. I don't even know how they would do it. Abolish
Hmm.
these programs or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
what's the right setup? Should it all just be random?
I wish they were all random, to be honest with you, but we know that's not going to happen because let's look at Wyoming. They sell 150,000 non-resident elk points every year. So that's everyone's just paying to keep their place in line. That's $7.5 million of free money. They didn't have to issue an additional tag to do that. Not one additional elk got taken, but it put 750 or $7.5 million in their coffers. And then
Mm-hmm.
you multiply that by their deer points and their pronghorn points. That's not going away. So
Wow.
in Wyoming, they say, we got this Ponzi scheme called preference points for you non-residents. We'll put 75% of our tags over here in the Ponzi scheme, and the other 25% will just be a random draw. So if states ever decided they did want to wean themselves of these programs, Wyoming could say, okay, instead of 25% in a random draw, let's make it 30% or 40% or 50% or whatever. So it would still give some opportunity to people who weren't in on the ground floor.